Mm, it's a Friday. What do we talk about on Fridays? You know what we talk about?
What?
If not you, then who? If not now, then when, baby? That's what we're talking about this Friday. Don't think that we're going to calm it down just because it's a Friday show. That's right. Give it a thumbs up, baby. Episode 193, Golden Mike Live here on November 22nd. 2019. It's your boy Mark Cordone with my girl Rukshana Triem. And you know what? We are going to talk about that. We are going to talk about if not you, then who? If not when, then when? The opportunities that we have to give back to our community and the benefits that we get from it. Yes, hit that like, love button. We see you, people. It's good to see you. Now, Rukshana, you know, this is the 193rd episode of the Golden Mike.
Congratulations
Thank
on this.
you.
This is awesome. I'm so happy to be on the magic number. I feel like that's a really cool magic number.
It is the magic number. Now, just a heads up, do you know why I've had 193 episodes?
Congratulations
Thank
on this.
you.
This is awesome.
No,
I'm so happy to be
no, I
on the
haven't.
magic number. I feel like that's a really cool magic number.
It is the magic number. Now, just a heads up. What the hell is going on? Do you know why I've
I'm
had
bouncing back.
193 episodes?
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
this. This is awesome.
No.
I'm so
Hit
happy
mute
to
on
be
your
on the
computer.
magic number. I feel like that's a really cool magic number.
It is the magic number. Now, just a heads up. What the hell is going on? Do you know why I've had I'm stalling, but it is a magic number. But you know why we've actually gotten to 193? Shut up, George. You know why we've gotten to 193 episodes?
No, I don't.
Because you can't cancel me, Rukshana. I produce my own show, baby. K-Mac, you can't stop me. You can't stop me. Yes, 193 episodes. We're going full in on the 200th episode. I can't wait for you guys to find out who the 200th guest is. But this Friday we are talking about the community. Hit that heart if you love the community work. Hit that heart if you currently are doing something for the community and you're getting something out of it. Rukshana's actually started a nonprofit. Started from being a lifestyle coach, entrepreneur, then becoming the CEO of the Women's Lifestyle Coaching Incorporated, or LLC, Women's Lifestyle Coaching, and now you're really doing these things with your 501(c) nonprofit to give back to schools in Mozambique, I think. Sorry, I said Zimbabwe. So, like,
Mozambique.
Here we go. So, like, we'll talk about that in a second. But for those of you who are watching for the first time, like Kel Mac and George, I don't think I've ever seen you guys on the show before. For those of you watching, my name is Mark Cordone. I am the Chief Disruptive Officer of the Joy Revolution. And more importantly, I get to ask people on a regular basis, how happy are you? And what or how much are you living in your purpose today? So, Rukshana, talk to me about that, sister.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me here today. I'm so grateful. And for all the audiences who are tuning in later and through the recording, thank you so much for watching me. I am so happy to be here because I believe that our stories, our adversities, our traumas, once we get over it, are our biggest gifts towards other people. And when we live through those experiences and we overcome that, we start helping other people heal and through that journey and make this world a better place by connecting, because we connect each other through all our stories. Our story connects us through any platform where you come, like on the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TED Talk that you recently did, Mark. I mean, all our stories really brings us down to connect to one human power, so that way we are all not forgetting where we came from and help one another.
Yeah,
So
in many ways, it's like what George is talking about right now. Community is everything. Who are you without your community? I am curious about the way that you started out. Did you start out always knowing your community, always using storytelling, always kind of being passionate about the things that you're passionate about now?
That's a great question. So I started out because my kids moved out of the house. My kids moved out. I have three children, beautiful children, who has been the best gift. And all I knew what to do is to being a mother. And when they were gone, all of them moved all of the out of the house at the same time. I had all this energy, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I always thought that, oh, I could lead a walk. I could start leading people on a walk, on a journey to losing weight, to coming together. But what I was doing is I was trying to find myself through the other women when I was leading walks. I was trying to find this other purpose that I'm supposed to do other than being a mom. And that community kind of grew. There's about 500 members, and then we started another chapter. And it became, for me, it became very healing, because through that journey of walking, and then that we led into hiking and trying new things, I met so many other women on that journey that I felt like I was not alone on this planet, where whatever transition I was going through, I thought it was the worst thing. But realizing through other women's stories that, they lost their husband, they lost their children, they moved out of the city, they're trying to start all over again. They sold their house, all these changes in their life made me connect to them, realize that I'm not alone, whatever I'm going through. Just through that process of walking, hiking on that journey, hearing their story, and then that's sort of how my community started, because I didn't have a community. I was just a mom. That's all I knew was what to do is become a mom, and then everything transitioned.
Do you remember the particular story or the group of stories or the retreat or the walk that you were on in which, Rukshana, the mom, the empty nester, really started finding her purpose?
Absolutely. It was one of these ladies who, her son passed away. Her son was about 19 years old. He passed away with cancer, which again, that made me realize, I'm like, okay, my kids are living, they're healthy. They just moved out of the house and they went to college or they went to other things. So, and then at the same year, her son passed away due to cancer. The same year, she also got a divorce. And then everything that she knew to be a mom and, to raise her kids and to be a wife, she lost all of those things. And then she had to, sell her house and then move to a new city. And the way she described it is like everything that she worked hard for all her life since she was 18 till the age of, God knows, 45 or 50 at that age. And she lost everything to realize that she was out finding herself, finding this new chapter of her life, who she's going to become, because everything that she had worked hard for was gone. That made me to realize, I'm like, my story is not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
She just lost everything. She lost her son, to life. He's not living anymore, so there's no looking forward to the future. She lost her husband, who, they divorced. Now she's going to have to figure out new systems to build new culture, new community, new friends, new chapter of her life. So that's
I actually would challenge the folks who are watching live or on the replay to really think about this, because oftentimes it is the community that gets us out of either a funk or brings us out of the ashes. I actually talked about this in my TED Talk, like when I became a dad, and not only just a dad, but a dad that was raised in Catholicism, where you're supposed to get married when the kids come. Same thing with being a Filipino, you stay together for the kids, and there was a very conscious choice not to do that between my ex and myself. I found a lot of solace in the roller derby community. And like that became like my new church, because a lot of those folks were single parents. And so for me, it felt like really, really, really like I was going to church. Like we'd go and beat each other up, and then afterwards when we'd go get a beer, like there was some real bonding that was going on when we started talking about our kids. And so I really can relate to that. Same thing when I became a coach, I only knew people from education. And so like it was really this growth piece in being able to meet new people and stuff like that. I'm curious if anyone has gone through anything similar like that. Give us a thumbs up or write in your story, and I'll be happy to share it. So now we've had a realization go on. Let's go back to your story, Rukshana. We've had a realization go on. That doesn't mean that you ran off and started a 501c. 3C already, right? Or maybe you did.
That's yeah. So the story itself made me realize that hiking and walking and taking women outdoor, that I was creating a space for women to come along and
Hmm.
be vulnerable, to share their story. Because as we all know, when we share that story doesn't own us anymore. That story becomes this beautiful gift. And to be able to see the journey of the women taking that story to the next level, and also giving themselves permission to step up and saying, you know what, this happened, so what can I do to move on to the next? And that inspired me to start my business, which is a women's lifestyle coaching, to create a coaching practice where I help women and create a space where women can come, and I give them systems and tools, so that way they can take those tools to create the life that they want, the dream that they love, the dream life that they want. So they're not stuck with the old story that keeps repeating in our dialogue, in our minds, our old stories that we meant that that's what we grew up with, or that's what
Yeah.
our parents expect of us. Some of us are still trying to make our parents proud, and we are in our 50s.
Hell
So that
yeah.
that women's lifestyle coaching, became so successful, and I started that business in 2016. So we just celebrated our fourth year this year, and it's still growing. I feel like this business entrepreneur journey is still growing. But the journey actually started when I went to visit my grandmother back home in Mozambique, and we're having a cup of tea under a mango tree. And it was early in the morning, and I'm listening to a distance about 500 feet away. You could hear the children kind of laughing and running, and then the teachers kind of scheduling them, getting them together and lining up to do a national anthem. So as they finish the national anthem, the children kind
Wait,
of
wait, hold on,
sit.
hold on, hold on. No, no. Wait, you're in a mango tree?
Oh yeah, this is under the mango tree when I visited my
Oh, you're
grandmother.
under the mango tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I see you being like in this mango tree like this with like thousands of children singing to you.
No, no, no. This is I'm just sharing the story how the nonprofit came about. While we're having tea under the mango tree, Mark, my grandmother points at a distance, just like, those children up there, they're, lining up and learning. And the lessons were happening all under a mango tree. So the
Hmm.
children were learning under the mango tree. So the teacher was guiding them to smooth the ground so they could learn how to write the letters, and then they can do the shapes. All this was happening under a mango tree. And because there was no school there, and then my grandmother said, you should be the one up there to go build a school. And she planted the seed in my mind, my heart. And I said, Grandma, maybe one day when I become rich or I win a lottery, I will go ahead and do that. And then she said this, Mark. She said, if not you, then who? And I said, maybe one day again, when I win a lottery and I have lots of money, I'll come back and do it. And then she repeated the words again, if not now, then when? I went back to United States. I came back. My life began. I continued my community, leading people into hiking and walking. And then I took this group of people, 14 women, to Victoria, BC, visited my uncle. We're having a campfire outside in the yard, and roasting marshmallows. And my uncle, having these visions and dreams and seeing all these women outside in the backyard, he was like, I've been working on this school back home, which is in Mozambique, and I've been working on it for 10 years. And I said, I think you'll do a great job to come along and help us. And, I felt like, I was just there to have a great time. And he said, again, those words from my grandmother came back. I said, if not you, then who? If not now, then when?
Okay,
So,
so this is resonating now. This
yes,
question is
yeah.
resonating. Um, at what point did you come to finality on answering that question?
That's the thing. It was not going away. I have a business. I have a very successful business, a very successful business here in Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon. I lead women on a hike all the time on my weekends when I'm not working. And like, I cannot take on another project. That's not me. But those,
So
as
you
an
take on
entrepreneur, we
a
have these.
you take on a nonprofit.
So then, of course, and then in 2018, I went to assess the needs of the village, and this village has about 500 children, and there's about 200 children who are learning under a school, but it doesn't have a roof. It's a very old structure. Due to the war, the structure was just left. Nothing, nobody took care of it.
Yeah.
So I assessed the needs, talked to the villagers, and talked to the elders and the chief, and contact, did all some of the research, and went ahead and applied for the 501c nonprofit, which is in my honor of my grandmother, called Fremina. And this year, the first time in May, we took about 11 volunteers with us to work on this project. So as we're talking right now, the school is being completed. So next year, when we take our next volunteers, the school will be complete, which will serve about 300 children in a classroom where they'll be able to sit down in a classroom. They don't have to worry about a mango tree when it rains, and when
Yeah.
it's mucky and windy. They'll have a school to
Yeah.
go to.
Well, that's super admirable, and also at the same time, I wanted to give props because my grandfather was a school principal, and he used to teach under a mango tree.
Yeah, tree.
And when it was time for like my mom and my cousins to give speeches, they had to stand on the top of the mango tree and like basically give the Filipino version of like the Gettysburg Address, and everyone would gather around, and like no one would believe it, and then you actually go and you see it. I remember the first time when I was 21 going to the Philippines and seeing what a school looked like. And I've seen more. I've seen outdoor gyms like with no walls on the side that are in better condition than those schools were. And so when you first started this project, getting the walls on the schools and stuff like that, is this money that's coming out of women's lifestyle coaching?
That's a great question. Actually, no, none of the money came out. I mean, I wrote a book. All the proceeds of the book, $7 goes to that. But it talk about community. These
Mm-hmm.
are all the ambassadors who went on the first project. We put a fundraiser together. All the people donated their time and energy. The business that I'm connected with, all the women businesses that I'm connected with, donated their gifts and time. And I can say, we're about probably $3,000 shy from our goal, from $25,000 to have this accomplished. We raised almost all this money through the community, the people that I'm involved with, the humbling people. They use Facebook. Oh my goodness, they
Wow.
use Facebook to raise money for their birthday fundraisers.
Okay, we're gonna be passing the hat pretty soon, people. We're gonna be passing the hat pretty soon. We're 3,000 away. We might have to have one of those telethons. We're like,
I was at a
I just
conference
dance
once.
until the $3,000 gets like collected.
I was at a conference once, and I was sitting down practicing my speech, and I just did my speech for 10 minutes, and then this lady just stands up and takes a hat and passes it around. I'm like, everybody donate $5, change, whatever.
Pass
And
the
before
hat,
you know
baby.
it, there's about like almost $150 that was passed around, and again through a word of community. And it was for me to be open and receiving, and to having the people, the ambassadors, talk about it. That's how the money has come about.
Okay, so I want to go to this now. I want to go back to Rakshana, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like we're already seeing success with, we're already seeing the success with the Foundation, and I want to go back to the Fermina Foundation. But also, what has this experience done for you that you've never experienced before in your life? Because you've done a lot in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
sent you
this.
sent 30 kids off to college, and now here, assuming kind of like midlife, you're having this kind of awakening, like right before all of our eyes,
Mhm.
right? And an awakening in which a lot of people will get the question, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Right?
Mhm.
And so, like, what is this doing for you, Rakshana?
It's really about that we all have that inner voice that we're ready to wait to awaken. It's that story that we have. It's that thing we all have, that inner whisper. We all have that we're hanging on to, and we're just letting it kind of be rotten. It's our gift, and that's exactly what I did. Is I took my story and turned it around and help other people. Because when you think about it, we're taking people from Portland, Oregon, to go volunteer their time in the village. Of course, they get to do
Hmm.
some touristy stuff, but we also do this exchange of the world. We're bringing people from Oregon to Mozambique, and then they're helping them, and then they're helping us. And they're giving this whole concept of life that, we have enough. Everything we have is enough. They don't have a lot, but we come to this common understanding, and of a meaning of purpose of life. So it's really my story of where I came from, because I came to the United States when I was 16 years old. So I did spend a quarter of my life in Africa, in different countries,
Right.
learning under the mango tree. So when you go there, that's part of a norm, right? It's part of a norm. When you came from there and you understand the culture, you understand the language, you go there, that's a norm. And then you
Right.
come to the United States, nobody learns under a mango tree. We have
Right.
structures, we have
Right.
classrooms.
Right, and do you get the same thing that we got? Like, there's a parade of kids and stuff like that, and so it's so freaking cool to see.
Yes.
I do have this question for you, because you were talking about your inner whisper. So we've been trained under the same thing, so I'm going to use the word because I don't mind. The assumption that I'm making is that this inner whisper has been speaking to you the whole time.
Yes, and I've been really scared. It has been speaking in my dreams. I would wake up thinking about it. It's been speaking when I'm doing workshops and public speaking, that I'm meant to do something more, and that doesn't go away. And I was so afraid, Mark. I was afraid to listen to the whisper and finally start putting a plan together. But I didn't know how to do it, how to implement that whisper. And I just said, you know what? Let's put a date on it, and everything else is going to happen. And that's exactly what happened.
So is that what the fear was? The fear was the implementation, not the idea.
Yes, the implementation. Okay. How I'm going to get the money? Who's going to come with me? Who am I? Like, one of them was, who am I to do this project?
Right.
I'm like, I speak the traditional language. Who am I not to? I lived in this village. Who am I not to?
So let me speak the untraditional language. How on this day, the November 22nd, who are you to do that?
Who am I? Because I came from there. I speak the language. I left the country due to the war. I have family there, and I have the experience. What I have when I left the country, and the experience in the United States to do this. I have more awareness of who I am, to not allow other people critique for what I know, because I know what I'm doing is bigger than myself.
Sure. Now let's talk about the things bigger than yourself. Let's talk about the people from Portland who went over there. How did you get people from Portland? Well, Portland's a pretty progressive city, so they're probably like, yeah, of course, we'll go with you. But like, was there a lot of selling? Was there a lot of like convincing and compelling messages, or did the group just get it already?
No, because I've been talking about this for a while. So the people who actually came, they kept asking me, when are you going to do that? So I was already talking about, I want to go build a school. I want to go build a school. We're already having these conversations when we go on a walk, or we have dinners. These conversations will always come up. But I didn't have the guts and the courage to actually put it together. So when I finally said, okay, this is the day we're going to go, I started inviting them, and they were brave and bold and courageous enough to say yes. I didn't have all the details of how much the ticket was going to cost. So first of all, I think they trusted me blindly for who I am, what I was doing. I didn't know all the details where they're going to stay. But when they said yes, what it made me do, because I already have family and connection, to start getting all the systems together, like, where they're going to stay, like lodges, how many days they're going to spend doing some touristy stuff, what it's going to take with transportation, having all those pieces together, because I have family there back home, Mozambique, and they're able to help me put all the pieces together, and hiring the right drivers with insurance, and because there's in a third world country there's a lot of corruption. Everybody's trying to get for their own, so making sure that I was taken care of, and I was supported with my family as well. So yeah, it's them trusting me. And we're tired of listening to me talking about it, and they really wanted to see this happen.
So talk to me about what they got out of it, either anecdotally, or if you did surveys, or you had a film crew. Like, what were some of the things that you saw in terms of their transformation?
I feel that they got most of it to experience another world where they don't have nothing, but they're very grateful for what they have here.
Like, was there a lot of culture shock?
Yes, I mean, there was a lot of stress for a couple people too. They got into that culture shock because they really thought it was different compared to United States.
Of course it's different.
We're talking about third world countries. And
of course.
Mark, yeah, because one of the experiences was so when we went to the village, because the village had a water well about probably a mile and a half away from the school. So when we had arrived at the school for the arrival with all these wonderful visitors from the United States, they did an arrival with a beautiful singing, singing and praising and just happy for us to be there. And as we sat down and listened to them and did like surveys from the village, from the community people who are there, we had spent all day going about. We were so hungry. We had our food in the car because they had so much. There was so much poverty in this village. Like the kids had no shoes. The clothes were torn. Like you could tell that their mouth were dry. They were dehydrated. It was really hard for the people who to go eat their food in the car and seeing these kids who are hungry. So those were the experiences that is like if they felt even they felt scared to go in the car and eat because these kids were that feeling of who am I to be eating my food right now? There's all these 300 children outside who are starving.
So people were learning about privilege.
Yes, yes. And I think also it really opened their heart when they came back to be the voice of Femina Foundation. When I started putting the event together for the fundraiser, they became the ambassador, they became the speaker. So they are continuously speaking about their experiences. Hopefully they will join the journey also next year or for the fundraiser.
So can more people go next year, or is it
Absolutely.
pretty much you and your clique, Rukshana?
So this one is already full because I already have a waiting list, but they can sign up for 2021. Okay. So if people are interested to go to Mozambique, again, it's 7 days of adventure of tourist safari, do some safari, and then we fly into the small little town, and then they pick us up with a van, and then we stay in the village for another 7 days. So it's really hands-on. On 7 days, you have to realize that it's not, there's mosquitoes, there is, water, you cannot drink water from the well, and we go through these experiences. We sit down under the mango tree and we learn, and they teach us all the lessons, the lessons about the village life there as well.
So let's talk about the next steps. We got 2020 coming up. We've got the trip. I know you're doing a couple other things with this, but let's talk about everyone's time, treasure, and their talents, right? And so how can you see folks using their time, treasure, and talents to either do something in their own community if they're feeling the whispers, or to do something directly for the Femina Foundation?
Yeah, so I mean, if you can go, then sponsor or give money or participating in some kind of a mission. I really believe that because not all of us have that energy and the time and or this strength and confidence to build that project in a backyard but volunteer, be part of something. And I tell this to all my ambassadors who went last year. I'm like, share about Femina Foundation. Use your Facebook to do fundraising. Like right now, we're going to be raising money to build desks. It's going to cost $300 for 10 desks. Things like that. I really feel like you can do things, simple things. Part of a mission, whether it is in your hometown, in your community, go volunteer for a shelter or something like that. You can always do something.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at the show notes. I can't find where do we go if we want to donate or go into our time, treasures, and talents and use that for the Femina Foundation?
Yes. So first I want to tell you, if you're interested in coming, please, I encourage you to go. So go to Femina Foundation. It's on Facebook. So Femina as FIRMINA Foundation. It's on Facebook, and we're working on the website right now. We have a volunteer who's helping us build a website.
And I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. So, and then just like and follow us and check out the journey of the school that we're working on right now. The school project just recently started, so they should be done by March next year. See how they're building, how the building construction goes in Africa compared to United States. And then I would encourage you to send us a message on a private message saying, I'm interested in coming in 2021, so we can put you on the list and I can have an opportunity to talk to you over a phone call and start planning, because trips like this take a while to plan because we're talking about third world countries. So I have to help you process. If you haven't traveled to a third world country, I have to kind of give you experiences things that you're going to deal with when if you do plan on joining us?
Mosquito net, people. That's all I gotta say. It's mosquito net.
Yes, yes.
And any other things coming up for Mina Foundation?
Um, Other than that, I think that's all for next year. Our trip is already full for
Okay.
April. We're going in April. But one of the things I've been working in, there is a trade school going on there, which is about 30 miles away from the school. So there's no college there. So, but there's a trade school through a nonprofit that we're working together. And this trade school has a tailoring department. And a tailoring department, I was trying to figure out how I'm going to help them. So I asked them, and the tailoring department asked if I could host a fashion show in the United States. So the tailoring department is going to be making about hundreds outfits for our ladies here in Pacific Northwest, different sizes, different shapes and sizes. And we're going to have a fashion show, which I have implemented this fashion show into a 2-day conference. And a 2-day conference, which is our master Mark here, he's going to be opening the show. That's called the Women's Lifestyle Conference.
Oh man, Cordell's gonna be opening the show, and you can't cancel him, baby.
Yes. So
Well, you actually can cancel me on that one.
No, I would love for you. I love the energy. I love you to bring the crowd. Now you know about the Fremita Foundation. Bring the crowd in together.
Yeah.
And we're doing a 2-day conference, and then we're bringing in the fashion show, which is the fashion show is helping the Fremita Foundation. So
Yeah.
a portion of the ticket sales is going to go towards that. But all these dresses are made from the kids of 21 to 26 who are learning trade work to
Yeah.
build their businesses. And I'm bringing those outfits here, and we'll have a fashion show. So check us out if you're interested in that. Check out my business page on Rukshana Triem, and we're going to be we're going to start selling the tickets on December 1st. But so excited for this journey. That's one of the biggest projects that I'm working on, and that's massive.
I mean, 2021, 2020, Pacific Northeast, it's going to be clobbering time, baby. I'm so excited for it. Yeah, I think one of the things that I really love about our conversation, and also looking at the people who are responding, and if you feel so called in the replay, if you're watching the replay, I'm curious to see what your community is that you serve. I mean, I'm looking down here, and George is one of the folks that has taken his home community and really blown it up to, hosting this huge TEDx event, a huge in terms of huge to capacity and in compliance with all of the TEDx things, but as big as you can make it. George went and did that. Kelmac is sort of a citizen of the world and has gone traveling and has helped multiple people. And here you are, Rukshana. It's a week before Thanksgiving, and we all have a lot to be thankful for. But also at the same time, if you only look at the things like what you're grateful for, that personal growth, it's not enough. It's not enough. The only way to truly satiate your fullest joy capacity is to give back. That's the only way. There's only a few people in this world that can sit on top of a mountain and vibrate. The rest of us have work to do. And the thing that people forget about is that work, when it's in service, is completely fulfilling. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on. I didn't know if we missed anything.
No, I think that's it. No, this is really true. That's really, yeah. Don't wait until you are rich or have more money, or you can start giving back in your community right now. And it's those little things that we do that will help us expand to the biggest way of giving as well.
I absolutely love it. We can go to Rukshana Triem's Facebook page right now if we want to see what's going on with the fashion show, and of course FIRMINA for Mina Foundation. That's a place to keep in contact with. What's really cool is that it's still in the early stages, and you get to see this thing grow and grow and grow, just like a mango tree. And so, Rukshana, it is amazing to have you on today. I don't know if you've seen this part of the show, but this is why we call it the golden mic. So I want you to imagine over there in the Pacific Northeast, right? That's where you are now.
Northwest, yeah, Pacific
Northwest,
Northwest.
the Pacific Northwest. There is no such thing as a Pacific Northeast, people. Um, Over there in the Pacific Northwest, that a golden mic is literally coming down from your ceiling, right? Now, this golden mic comes to rest in front of you, Rukshana, and the golden mic has the power to broadcast to every single person and translate all across the world, which means there's some people who may not be ready for what it is that you're going to tell them. And then there's other people who, right now, at this moment, are asking themselves, if not, if not me, who? If not now, when? And you can say whatever you want into the golden mic and let them know what's up. So, Rukshana, your golden mic is live now.
Thank you. I really just want to share that your story is important. You are important to the world. The world is waiting to hear your story, and it is very selfish if you do not if you don't share your story with the world. I encourage you to stand up, to speak up, and show up with your story.
Amazing. I want you to take that golden mic because the kids are at home. Yeah. Drop it! Yeah, you know what's up, girl. Drop that golden mic. Drop it, baby. This is the thing. We're going into the holidays. We can get caught up in ourselves and what's going on in our own lives. But really, the true way to experience major amounts of joy is to think about what you have to give and how you can serve. Rukshana, thank you for being on the show. We are shutting off the golden mic for the weekend, and even next week we're going to spend it with family and friends. But for now, Rukshana and I have this final question for you. If you're feeling happy and you're living life to its fullest purpose, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? Rukshana Cordone, episode 193. We're hitting 200 pretty soon, people. We will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.